Okay, welcome to my first Silly Rabbit Tarotstrology YouTube video. I've done some on my Facebook page and on my Facebook profile under the same. My name for the purposes of this is Madam Thanatos, and I'm going to do your, we'll do a basic reading, a career reading, and a romantic reading, just a few card draws for tomorrow, January 28th, 2020. And this will be for Aries, our first sign of the deck, who is, both, ironically, both the infant and the father. Well, maybe not necessarily the father, but the king, the emperor, the ruler. Wow. Okay. So these cards didn't take any time getting themselves out. And I'll show you here. We have the reversed Queen of Pentacles. Or actually, since I haven't explained this on YouTube, so the deck that I am using is the, oh, I can't even find the lid. It's the Alice in Wonderland deck. It's based on the Rider-Waite deck, but it's used Alice in Wonderland, which is so absurdly awesome, and I love it, and it's meaningful, and I hope that it brings a lot of, like, absurdly joyful fun to you. Anyways, Aries, so your first card for this week, for your general, reversed Queen of Pentacles, which is the Queen of Oysters in this deck, followed by the Temperance card, and the Magician. Make sure I didn't have things reversed. And the Nine of Cups. Now, just as a basic, the Queen of Pentacles in upright is, it's about balanced resources and groundedness, but you can see that she still is kind of covering her heart with that. And in reverse, that is even more emphasized. And so the Queen of Pentacles, or Queen of Oysters here, she is very set up. She has gone through the swords and the wands and the cups stage, and she is definitely in upright more centered than the others, but in reverse she is still learning how to stay grounded and not be an Enneagram 8 type in a negative context. And sometimes she can be violent, she can be manipulative, she can be she will get her way. She's kind of a diva in her own way, but she's a diva in the quiet sense and calculating sense, in the cold sense. She's very earthy. If you think Capricorn, Virgo, Taurus energy when they're in really bad mood, and usually it is a feminine person, but it is generally the feminine energy. And we'll go into what I think that means in a minute, but we'll just do the cards. Now, Temperance. Now, this is a funny one. This is a silly rabbit dressed up in kind of beggar's or herald's uniform. He's looking into his bag, and he is dipping his toes into water, and you can see that there's a trail leading off here, the sun in the background. And he's just stopping. It's just kind of a waypoint. This card is it's about temptation and also patience, and about creativity, kind of finding that balance. In the Rider-Waite deck, usually you see the character, they've got, they're dipping a cup into water and filling some up and then pouring some out on the ground. And it's about finding a balance, but it is also about creativity and inspiration, which is, being in spirit. And the way that I like the symbolism on this card, what I like is it's like he's looking into his bag of infiniteness and looking for sandwiches. You can see here, it almost looks like a pizza, but he's looking in here, what do I have? And he's dipping his toes in the water at the same time, and also standing firm on ground. He's very in a kind of a two-spirit energy, and he's neither super excited, or she, it's very androgynous, they're neither super excited, nor are they really sad. You can see that there's not a lot blocking their chakras. They're very open in this sense, and they know that eventually they're, either they're going to travel up that path, or they are coming down the path to come down here, and they're kind of have higher purposes, and there's things that they have going around in the background, but they're just really enjoying this moment of what's going on here, and this experimental place of being tempted by different things, and yet not needing to rush into them either. Magician, I love this one. It's funny because so the only Mad Hatter in this deck is actually the Fool, but this Magician card, which is right after the Fool, it really reminds me of the Johnny Depp version of the of the Mad Hatter of Alice in Wonderland in the recent remake that they did. And I love it because like the spirit connection that they have here is the Cheshire Cat, and he's holding up a rabbit out of the hat, and the hats in this deck are the cups. Now, in pretty much any deck that's, well, in all tarot decks have a magician. The magician is kind of that stage where, if you think of the Fool, in fact, as, almost as Aries itself, like the beginning, as a teenager just leaving the nest, learning to individuate. This is when, like, say, he's gotten a job and he's got resources. He's got cups and pentacles and swords and wands, and, like, he's got everything that he needs to manifest pretty much anything. But he in the first journey through the hero's journey of the tarot deck, he's not really got a whole ton of life experience, and he's able to just manifest just about anything. But he's kind of like a toddler, and an upright, like a happy toddler, just like, I'm going to make this, and I'm going to make that, and I'm going to get this, and I'm going to get that. And he's really starting to, just draw things into him, and it's a card of manifestation, pretty much of anything. And in upright, it's usually a very good card. It's associated with Mercury, both Virgo and Gemini. This card is a really fun card. I've always known it personally, the Nine of Cups, to be associated as the wish card. But as one of my favorite tarot mentors has pointed out, it is also one of the most sexual cards in the deck, and is to a great degree, let's say we're going to hear the honk, right? That's correct. It's also very much about, so it's about joy and hedonism and like pleasure for pleasure's sake, but in upright it's a good one. And I love the imagery in this deck. A crow is a very crow is an ally, and crow for me, like, I've always associated them as the keepers of karmic law, as playful trickster sorts, really intelligent scavengers. They're actually classified as a songbird, and they do. If you sit and listen to them, especially the mated pairs when they sit out next to you, they make some of the funniest and actually quite pretty noises. And this bird is sitting on a writer's desk on here, and really just looking out at these cups that have been gathered and filled there, and like thinking about wishes is the way that I look at it. And like for me, the symbolism is that, you have a wish and it takes flight in your mind, and like the first manifestation is thought, the next is spoken word, and then the next is written, and then after that things manifest. So that wish card really represents that. And then the things that make things manifest are our emotions, if you think of them as energy in motion, right? And so this is all of that in motion, emotion that is powering the manifestations and sending it out. And if you look into anything to do, with manifestation, law of attraction, stuff like that, it's all power. Like that's what emotions are. There are GPS system to tell us, where our vibration is, and they are the power with which we put behind the things we want to manifest, which is why they often talk about, a lot of the gurus will talk about, you think about what you want, and then you do something joyful, because joyfulness is love, and love is, especially in the absurdity of things, is the path of least resistance. And when you are in a path of, when you embody the energy of least resistance, things come to you easily. And that's what people really want, is ease and satisfaction in all things. And so Aries, what I'm seeing for tomorrow, for January 20, 2020, is, so if we look at these together, and this is something I'm still learning to do, but if we put them together and we look at how these cards lay out with each other, if we put them, in fact, we'll put them more in order. What I'm seeing here is that you are, so some of this Queen of Pentacles energy is you. You're being a bit stubborn. You're being stagnant and slow about dipping your toes into something that feels good. It feels healthy, it feels right, it feels like it's refreshing, that dip of water in there, and it has something. Although I sense that this is a lot of this is you, it is also somebody that you sense as more of an upright queen, but you're upset with something, either to do with yourself, probably both, something to do with her, something to do with you. But you're dipping your toes in. You're kind of you're testing the waters. You're being very Enneagram 6 type. You're being a bit skeptical, which is okay. Like, it's okay to do that. And in doing that, whatever it is that you're working on, you're clearly manifesting this situation. You might not even be aware of it quite yet, but you are manifesting this situation, because then to have the wish card, I mean, to have both to have both of these in here, right, for your reading tomorrow, whatever it is that you're manifesting. And the queen, any sort of, the queens and kings often have to do with relationships and things like that. But it could be a little bit to do with business too, because it is a pentacle. And so what I'm getting the sense of is that this is kind of where you have been at, and this is what you want, is this Queen of Pentacles, and both in your own embodiment and as an actual person. And this could, if you are a woman, you could be trying to manifest this in yourself and another woman, or you could be manifesting a man. If you are a man, you could be trying to manifest a woman or another man. I've no attachment to gender on it. The cards tend to be very gender binary, because they were created in a time when there was only a gender binary, which is absurd in its own right. In any case, so yeah, so in looking at these cards together, and really, I mean, in fact, for that matter, what is in your shadow space, or the underlying issues, which is the card that ends up on the bottom of the deck, is the Four of Flamingos, which I just love. I love the absurdity of this. The flamingos in this deck are the swords, and I love that they are represented by flamingos, because it really it represents the absurdity of swords. Swords are our thoughts and our communications, and they are often, like, they're supposed to be truth and clarity and things like that, but like, say it's reversed, they're often like cutting words and cutting thoughts and lies and things like that. Now, this particular one in the Rider-Waite deck, you usually see kind of a tomb, and you can see the character carved out on top of it, and they're very resting, and there's 3 swords on the wall and 1 sword across the tomb, and it represents kind of a restfulness and meditation and connecting, just reconnecting with yourself and spirit and things like that, especially within your mind. Now, this particular card, the imagery on this is kind of great, okay? You can see you've got 3 flamingos up here. They're just kind of chilling, walking around. And you got one down here, and he is looking at this figure who is like sitting there with, I mean, kind of has like a dunce cap on his head, but it's like covering his whole head, or their head. I don't know. They kind of have a dress too, so they're really androgynous also. But they're, and it's funny too, because they've got the scepter, and one of the scepters of knowledge in there. But it's kind of that same thing, but it's more, it highlights the absurdity of things, in that just going into that restful place. And this is one of the cards that actually helped me more recently come into a place of understanding about what you do with thoughts, especially if you have thoughts about if you're in relationship or in situations with people that you really would like to reach out to and you can't, or there's like, say you're trying to pull something out of your vortex and manifest it, like money or love or connection or health or things like that. There are a lot of times when we need to rest and observe the things that we are doing, especially our thoughts, because our thoughts can help and hurt us. They can protect us and cut us, just like a sword. And it kind of reminds me, like, when I do my own tarot deck, I will represent this one as a garden with trees, where there are prayer ties on the trees, because that is what it, and the swords will represent that, those prayer ties, because you can have a place to go to in your mind where you can, I mean, especially as an Aries. I have an Aries moon, and I have a couple of other Aries placements, and I know several people that have really strong Aries placements, and you often get this go, 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 go vibe where you want to do something right now, right now, right now. And sometimes right now is just not the right thing to do. But there are other times when there is an action that can and should be taken. It's just not something that needs to necessarily happen in this physical realm. And as an Aries, you can really learn, I'm getting a lot of tingles on this, you can really learn to harness, especially if you have Aries moon rising or Mars sign. You can use your ability to do stuff right now on a more ethereal level, and you just go within and connect to spirit when you feel like you need to do something right now, but in this physical collective conscious manifestation, the things that you want to do, like maybe you don't have all the cooperative components, or maybe the right people aren't there or available, like just like, go in and cultivate yourself a vortex in your mind where, where you can have a garden or a place that you put these swords, and you use them in healthy ways, and you don't force them on other people, and you don't, you don't get over focused on what is not available around you, and just, hang them up in there, use them as prayer ties, as things to ask for spirit to help you with, and just put them in there, and then trust that they are happening. And the more that you practice this and get into the habit of recognizing that your ability to do things right now is your connection with spirit. Spirit can do them right now also. And I'll do a video later that will explain a little bit more about how to do that. But, play with that for right now, Aries. Really, and I mean, underneath that shadow card even is the Nine of Pentacles, Nine of Oysters, which is just such pomp and circumstance, right? Just be playful. And it was like, don't get too much in your head about how things have to be. Don't be too rigid about how things have to be, because as your shadow card, as your underlying issues card, for those of you that I'm connecting with, because this reading won't be for everybody, so if this doesn't resonate, discard it. But for those of you that resonate with this reading, this is the thing that you are probably needing to do and are not doing, or it's the thing that you are doing and you need a little confirmation that was the thing to be doing. In any case, so in terms of that being your in your shadow and things to work on, if you want to take this energy, whether it is for you or whether it is somebody that you are trying to manifest, which is, I'm going to take a leap and say a woman who is Capricorn, Taurus, or Virgo, either sun, moon, or rising, or maybe even their Venus or Mars sign, then you're going to want to recognize and allow yourself to accept, like that you, for one thing, you're liking this. This is fun. Just get creative. Be absurd. Look at this rabbit. Be absurd. Be playful. Tempt them. Allow yourself to be tempted, but also be patient. If you're dealing with earth energy, either in your own embodiment, or if you're dealing with, a woman that cares very much about money and things like that, home and hearth and family, she's not likely to jump like the Aries would, unless she has Aries placements, in which case, if she does, then definitely be more playful. Let yourself be tempted and be creative and absurd and fun. Be like this silly rabbit. And then just recognize that you are in a new state of manifesting. You have renewed yourself, and you have all of the tools that you need to make whatever you want. Just remember that if you're not being conscious about, if you're not being intentional about what you're manifesting, you're going to probably make a lot of messes first. And I mean, once you get to a stage, a certain level of manifestation, you can easily just clean up those messes. Maybe that's the message for you, is don't worry so much about the messes that you make. The more that you get comfortable in your own elements and you're willing to make mistakes and be a mistake maker, the easier it will be to see that the messes really aren't all that bad. They're just a part of the learning process. And then once you do that, your wishes will come true. Your wishes are coming true. You've already put all this energy out into there. You are already manifesting whatever this stuff is. And the irony is the other person is too, because as Rumi says, that which you seek seeks you. All right, Aries, let's do, so that was your general. Just funny because it seemed to have a bit to do with love and money already. But let's do a light money, financial, few cards for you for tomorrow, the 28th of January, which also, by the way, will be, it's 2 and 8 is 10, so it'll be a start over day. Today is a 9, which is endings. So 1 will be new beginnings, and it will likely be more of a masculine day because that is what the number 1 is, and it signifies adventures. And in fact, now I think about it, there's no irony that the Magician card popped out in there, because even though the Fool is the first card, the Magician is the number 1 card. Okay. That's funny, you seem to be getting 4 cards that just want to pop out every time on here for you. And look, we got the Wish card again. So I'm going to actually start with your shadow card in this one for your money reading. And it's funny because I've learned that in using tools like tarot for connecting with spirit as another source, the underlying issue card or the shadow card can often confirm whether or not, 1, your reader is in a good place to be connecting with you, and 2, whether it is about the issue that you think. And bam, we got the Knight of Pentacles, or the Knight of Oysters in here. I really love this. It's funny because he's sitting in like a wooden suit, dressed like a horse, on top of a horse. In any case, so the Knight represents communications that have to do usually with money or love, and because we're doing a career one, I'm going to go with it as most likely to do with money. And so he has just gotten past the Page stage, and the Page has really taken the Ace of Pentacles, that seed, and planted it in a few places, and is getting ready for it to grow. The Knight is in the stage to where things are already growing, and like he's hippity-hoppeting along the trail and going to talk to people about that he can sell his harvest to later. And in the meantime, he often stops at the sunset and likes to gaze at his pentacles, or in this case, his oysters. And really is, I mean, he's a slow-moving sort. He's another earth energy, Capricorn, Virgo, Taurus kind of energy. And he's, he's just comfortable with where he's at. He likes what's going on so far. He's confident that what he has that he has, tilled the soil in the right ways, and that the things that he is manifesting will come to fruition, and he knows there's no need to rush them. And because he is a knight, he is also a messenger, and he is sure of his messages. And I'm getting the sense, especially for you tomorrow, Aries, that the color yellow is very important in this for you tomorrow. A color yellow is associated with the solar plexus chakra, and it often has to do with ego, and also with the connection to other humans. It is the source, the center to which we often energetically shoot out to connect with other people. It also has a lot to do with communication, and it is kind of that fire in the belly source. So when it comes to money issues tomorrow, really, it's that place just above the navel, just above your belly button. So when it comes to money issues, really trust your intuition in terms of what you feel in your gut, right? All right. So let's look at what you got coming up here. So the first card that you got is the 5 of Pentacles, or 5 of Oysters, but in reverse. This is another funny card. I don't even know exactly what that character is. It's like a turtle rabbit thing with a long tail, with like pig feet. In any case, see, so if you look at this card, you can see that the rabbit turtle thing is crying, and he is looking at the oysters that are like right near his face, and there are oysters down here near the ground, and it's interesting that he is not happy. And this particular card to me represents somebody who they see that they have stuff in front of them, and it's really not all that far out of reach, but they're just generally not all that happy with what they have. And in fact, if you look, Look at his eye. He's not even really looking at it. Like, it's within reach. He can taste it. He can smell it. But he's looking somewhere else, and he's just not happy with the ones that he has there. And to me, that is really the embodiment of when this card is in reverse. Is like you're not looking at what you have in front of you. Whatever it is that you have in front of you, have plenty of stuff, and the number 5 itself is considered a number of plenty. It's a middle one. If the numbers only go 1 through 9 and then start over usually, in numerology, but 5 is usually a number of plenty and adventure and changeability and things of that nature. But like, this character is clearly, he's not exactly very happy with what he has. It's kind of an ungrateful attitude about what he's got going on in front of him, and he's like looking around for other things. And in reverse, for this particular card, that's emphasized there, and it's in the Rider-Waite deck. This is the one where there's usually like a beggar, or a couple of beggars that are walking in the snow, and there's a church window in the background, and it just looks very sad and sullen. And it even in upright, it is. In upright it is about scarcity, but it's also about getting assistance, like traveling your way into getting assistance, moving your way into the 6 of Pentacles, where you've got somebody who is helping you out. But in reverse, it's like getting stuck in that mindset of lack, of not having enough, when really you do. You do, Aries. You have a lot around you. And you're not going to manifest any more stuff that you want, whether these, and because this is money-wise, I mean, this could be a house, this could be more income, this could be, I don't know, a hill to park an old car on, like, whatever it is that you want. If you're ungrateful for what you already have, you're certainly not in an energy that you're going to be able to manifest the stuff that you do want. That's not how it works. And then, of course, with all irony, the Wish card, and it is an upright. So, obviously, there are things that, you got in your general, that has to do with relationships, and then you've got this money-wise. That's probably why there's a Queen of Pentacles in there. Like, you have a lot of wishes, 9 wishes in there, right? And today, what I say, today is about 9s. Tomorrow, the 28th for your reading, is that start over. So, maybe the message in there, you want the wishes, Aries, you want them to come through. You gotta get out of this yuck. You gotta get out of this yuck, and recognize that, yes, you might not have everything that you want right now, but you're not gonna get it when you got shitty thinking going on. The next card, the next card that popped up, I love this one, is the Hermit card. And in this card, it's the little dormouse asleep in a teapot holding the Hermit's lantern. And it's really great because the Hermit in the regular Rider-Waite deck is usually considered just like this isolated, curmudgeon-y old fellow, and you really don't get all the symbolism of the Hermit. Like, that it is definitely about inward reflection, but I love this one, and in the little booklet it explains that they have the mouse asleep to represent that often it is this waking life that really is the dream, and it is when we are dreaming that we are actually in the real world, the ethereal planes and stuff, but that life is dreaming, is a dream that we have dreamed together in this collective consciousness. And I love the mouse symbolism too, because mice as a totem are often representative of needing to pay attention to the little things. And as I've often said, when you're trying to listen for Spirit's communication, remember that Spirit as often comes through in a whisper. Your intuition comes through in a whisper. It's often not very loud. There will be times, especially when you learn to listen to the whispers, that you will get a very large sense, a very large intuitive push that from Spirit. But usually, at least at first, it is very quiet, like a little mouse, like that little eek, eek, eek that you hear, right? And once you learn to listen to it, I mean, the lantern might be small at first, but then you can start following that light, following it, right? Following that intuition, both in the gut, in the heart, and things of that nature. So, Aries, you've got this card popping up, so you want those wishes, you want you know, you want to be able to get the house, the car, the property, all that stuff. I mean, this is a money reading, the better job, things like that. You got to start listening to your intuition and inwardly reflecting and looking at yourself as and learning to look at the world around you in new eyes, fresh eyes. Lastly, you got the Knight of Peppermills, which I love. So the Peppermills are the wands in this one. It's another one that I like to wear, as you know, the swords are represented as flamingos, and the hats are like the Mad Hatter's hats. And so the wands in this one are peppermills or pepper shakers, right? Now this is another night, so remember that this is about messages. And because this is a fiery one, you know, this could be you, Aries, or it could also be somebody who has some Leo or Sagittarian energy. This is usually more to do with Sagittarius than the other two, but it can also be somebody who has these in other placements, maybe even as their Mercury placement. In any case, so what I'm getting a sense off for you is that for whatever it is that you need financially is going to require you to... So the wands often have to do with communications and internet and technology and heart-centered stuff. If you notice in here, I mean, he's not quite as heart-open as the Queen or the King, especially the Queen, but he's definitely heart-open. The rest of him is kind of blocked off. He's got a helmet on and things like that, and, you know, he's really ready to... The Knight of Wands, Knight of Peppermills, is really a sort that things. In any case, so whatever it is that you're getting, as long as it is I'm going to say an intuitive focus, and it is, you know, as long as it's something that you're getting that little whisper, maybe even to do with that Temperance card, as long as you're getting that little whisper and you're seeing the signs, you're seeing the synchronicities, you know, whatever it is that you're being called towards, whether it has to do with the relationship or not, when it comes to what you want materially, the stuff that you're here and you're looking at and it's sad and you really want some more, in order to get yourself to a point to where you can see this stuff in a good light and even really just get rid of this card altogether and get to a happier stage, you're going to need to communicate. And I'm getting the sense that this is somebody that you... I'm getting a sense that this is somebody that you've been observing for a while, and you're really, tomorrow you're going to be hitting this energy to where you really want to communicate with them. And you know, if you want your wishes, you want those wishes to come up, you're going to need to do that. Otherwise, you're going to, I mean, it's not that they'll go away, but I mean, if you stay stuck in this energy, if you stay stuck in that, it's just going to be more of this. Is that really what you want, Aries? I don't think so. Okay. Let's get these shuffled a little bit more in here. Now, we'll do, lastly, a couple of cards for your love for the day. Let's make sure that these are not mixed in here. I do shuffle the deck between each sign and stuff, so it's ready to go for when I do each of these, just in case anybody was wondering on there. Okay, so we got one card. You know what? I'm going to keep that one in there. Okay, can we get one more card, Spirit? A little bit more. Thank you. Love for Aries. Whoa! Alright. Okay, so we ended up with a couple here. Now it's funny. Okay. So we actually ended up with two shadow positions, because the first one that came up in the shadow position is the World, and I just had the sense to hold on to this one. And the second one, without any irony, the Magician, right? So in your shadow work to do and your underlying stuff in terms of love, you are looking at the World and the Magician. Now, in the World card, you can... Now, in the Rider-Waite deck, The World card is about something that is completing or completed. And you can see also, though, she looks like she's looking for something, right? And it's because she's looking for the next step, because there are no final completions. When you complete one thing, you start something new. You know, and so what I'm getting here is that there is something that is completed or is completing, and something else that is starting or restarting. I'm kind of getting that sense that it is a completion of an old, this is usually a karmic cycle. So there's something that you have manifested that is completing, but there is something new that is starting that you've also been manifesting. And because of the other cards that you got, I'm getting the sense that you're manifested a new beginning, an ending to something, and a new beginning of something older. And if you look at just the metaphor of this, the way that these cards came out, Alice is looking at the magician, right? So this tells me that whatever is going on love-wise, you are either aware that you are manifesting this stuff, or you're about to become aware that you have been manifesting this stuff subconsciously. And it will probably be a little bit of a lightning strike moment, but it will be delightful. It'll be absurd. It'll be wonderful, and you'll like it. Yeah. Oh, it's funny. You know, underneath those two, 10 of Cups, happy family stuff. Okay, so the cards that came out, so very first what come out, and I love this card, the Emperor. This is your card, Aries. And I just love it because normally in the regular Rider-Waite deck, you see this very serious guy, king. He's an emperor sitting on his throne with his rams and his wand and his shield, and you know, and he's he is the father of the deck and stuff like that. Very, very Aryan. He's also the War Maker. But now, in this card, or in this deck, he is the Cheshire Cat, right? And I love that even more as the embodiment of Aries, because I have some strong Aries placements, including Aries Moon. And I know I already have a sense of capriciousness from being a Capricorn, but I can always consider it to be my Aries Moon side. That really makes me kind of a sassy, absurd, playful person who likes things slightly inappropriate and a bit sexual and kinky and fun and just going out there. And I'm sure many of you know what I mean if you have strong Aries placements. And you like to be in charge in many ways, but you kind of like to be in charge in the ways of a cat, right? Like, you like to have it when you want it, and you don't want it when you don't want it. And, like, you want people to pet you on your time and in your way. And when you don't want them to, you don't want them to. And you walk off, and you don't have any problem getting up and walking off. You're not going to sit there and, like, be like, oh, are you okay? Did you still want to pet me some more? No, cats don't do that. They're like, screw you. I'm going to go play with my mouse. I'm going to go outside. I'm going to go poop in the litter box. I don't care if you are watching a movie and eating something delicious. I'm going to stink up the room, right? And that is very Aries to me. Just, it's not malicious usually, although you can be in reverse, but it's usually not malicious. It's very loving. It's very playful. It's just very about me, right? And so because this is the first card that came out in your love reading, and because of your general had to do a little bit with love, and it also had to do with money, and then your money stuff had to do with love, I'm getting the sense that if you want the love and the money and the pentacles and the stuff, you really got to embody this, both this father energy and this cat energy, you know? And because it's upright, and because cats are often considered to be connected to the ethereal energies and things of that, they know things. Let's put it that way. They know things. They can't always tell us that they know things. The Cheshire Cat often has that mischievous smile going on about him. He's got a lot of riddles going on that, he knows that you don't know. What is it? There's one of my favorite quotes that, meme quotes from the original Alice in Wonderland, is the Cheshire Cat asking Alice, well, where would you like to go? Or Alice says something like, I don't know which way to go. And the Cheshire Cat says, well, where do you want to go? And she says, well, I don't know. And he says, well, then I guess it doesn't really matter all that much, does it? That is the message that I'm getting, that if you want the things that you want, you need to recognize that it's the choices that you make. And that if you don't know what you want, then it doesn't really matter much, does it? So maybe for tomorrow, take some time, Aries, and be a little bit independent and a little bit cat-like, and just do your own thing. Don't worry about if you stink up the room a little bit. Don't worry about if somebody really wanted to pet you and you didn't feel like it. You know, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Just be independent. Focus on Emperor stuff, like, you know, your structure, your stability, your castle, and you. You know, it's very that this is your Aries sense. Like, be in you, connect with you. Now the other cards that came up when I asked for a couple more were the Five of Swords and the Page of Flamingos, which I've said in some of my readings that I've done on Facebook. This is for me has often been the cut the shit card, but it's also about kind of a freedom in truth, like the truth will set you free kind of thing. And I like it because if you look at him, he's like lovingly holding that flamingo, that sword. He's not like, oh, I've got my sword, right? He's just holding on to it, and they're both looking in the same direction. And this is the Earth card of the sword suit, and the sword suit usually has to do with air signs. So I mean, this could be somebody in your path. This is often a card of Gemini, but it's a Gemini that has a very earthy quality. So it might be somebody with a sun sign in an earth quality, and then like a moon or a rising in an air quality. Either way, it's a card about communication and youthfulness and playfulness and kind of the truth will set you free sort of thing. And then the card that came with it, the Five of Swords, or the Five of Flamingos. And it's funny because in the Rider-Threat deck, you know, you've got a guy, he's usually standing on this side of the thing, and he is holding some swords that he has stolen from the people in the background. And, you know, he's about arguments and it's about defeat, but it's mostly about self-defeat and stolen things and stuff like that. And in reverse, actually, it's about reconciliation of those and like recognizing what you've taken. In upright, it could either be that you are feeling like something was taken from you, or things are being taken from you, or it could be that you are just simply defeating yourself, because the swords often have to do with thoughts, especially clarity of thoughts and things like that. And so I'm imagining that because of what you're getting here, and because you got remember I was saying that you've got the World and the Magician, so like you're seeing what you have manifested, and I'm assuming that it has to do with not taking enough time to be you and your catty, delicious Aries self. And now, if you want to manifest those things that you want in love and career, you need to find the freedom in truth, and you need to cut the shit, both your own and others, that you have manifested. And you need to recognize who is stealing your energy, how you are stealing your own energy, how you're stealing others' energies, and how you're defeating yourself, really. I mean, if you notice in this card, like, even though these other, like, I mean, assuming that this person has stolen swords from these other two off in the distance, like, they're not fighting with him. And he's now got he's got so many swords, he's dropping them. Like, he's got too many swords to carry, and he's dropping them. There's too many thoughts, too many things. Remember that magician I was saying, like, the magician often has so much stuff that he just makes messes? Well, you're defeating yourself with that, you know? Get back to this, Aries. You know, and this is your love reading thing. You want love, get back to caring for you. Date yourself a while, you know, like, worry about what you need. I know that it can seem selfish at times, but think about the cats. Think about the cats. They're not, they're not selfish. They're just, they recognize that they're not going to be able to be playful and enjoy that catnip with you and that rubbing time if they don't get all their catnaps in all day, right? So whatever it is that you're doing that is a bit self-defeatist, or if you're in a situation where you are allowing yourself to be defeated and your energy depleted, a little rhyme for you, then, you know, get out of that situation. Take care of yourself. It's funny. Get into your creative self, your star. Sing, play music, write, do whatever you need to do, read, do something. Well, all right, Aries, I'm going to cut this overly long video short here. If anybody would like any readings, I am doing, my goal is 5 a day for $25, and you can reach me at madamthanatos@gmail.com. I will put a link to that in the description so that you know how to spell it and I don't have to keep spelling it on my videos. I also do astrology readings and synastry. I'm going to say 15 for those. Let me know if there's anything else that you would like communication with or connection with, or if you'd like a personal reading. I do Tarotstrology, so we can do a mixture of them and help you get connected with your own inner being and the divine, and help you get the love, money, joy, and absurd satisfaction that you definitely deserve. So until our next reading, have a good day of 28th, Aries.